G'day and welcome to the growth module on career planning. So what we're going to talk about now is career planning for your growth team. So in our org chart, we've demonstrated that there are three core roles in the growth team. So there's a leasing consultant role, there's a business development officer role, which is generally a closing role, and a business development manager, which is more about creating a presence for the business, lead generation, and also mentoring all the team members below them. So when you're talking about a career path for your growth team, it has two components to them. So not only is it, do I want to grow through from a leasing consultant to a business development officer to a business development manager, but also what are the competencies that I need to achieve to make sure that I'm adequate in each of those roles before I move on to the next. So let's look at the leasing consultant, for example. If somebody enters your business as a leasing consultant and they want to move into a business development role, what you need to do is you need to associate with their position descriptions all the capabilities that they need to learn as a leasing consultant. Now let's just look at the basics. So you need to understand how to list a property for rent, how to market a property effectively, take professional photos or engage a professional photographer, how to actually do a leasing inspection, get there early, turn on all the lights, make sure the blinds are open. If it's an afternoon property, don't show it. If it's getting afternoon sun, don't show it in the afternoon. There's all these quirks and perks. How to close and engage with people, how to get information from prospective people that are entering the property that you can authenticate them and work out whether you want to try and close them there and then or whether you need to actually pass on them. So there's all these tricks and trades to becoming a leasing officer. And then there's time management. How often do you do inspections? How long should the inspections go for? Managing inquiries. So they're just the basics. I won't go into too much detail of that. But if you've got all those documented in the position description and they're then in their career map, then what you can do is you can assess each of those tasks and tick them off as they've done them. And then when they've actually completed all the competencies of a leasing consultant, then you're ready and preparing them to go into the next role, which may be a business development officer's role. And you don't have to stop there. You can move and start hybriding the role. So perhaps they're not a business development officer, but maybe they start learning some of the duties of a business development officer. So when the time comes and they need to transition into that role, they're already 50% of the way there. So that's what career planning is all about. Career planning is not just about understanding that I want to go from a leasing consultant to a business development manager, or maybe from the business development manager, I want to go to a business manager. The sky's the limit with career planning, but also it's understanding what are each of the single micro capabilities that I need to achieve to get through each of those roles and become better at them. Now, you can document that yourself. So using the position description, you can outline what all the tasks are, and then you can attach the career passport to that. And that's just about building that out on authenticating that. The other way of doing it is in the book Building Blocks by Ben White, we have produced a career passport, and those passports are available as part of this learning module. And you can use them as a base camp. And the idea is that you go through, I think there's probably about 100 competencies in it. As you go through and you do a self-assessment and tick off all the ones you already have, and that's your starting point for your career map. The most important thing as a leader is making sure that you're helping that team member execute on all those competencies. So you need to free them up with time. You need to resource them. And that's all part of doing your one-on-ones. And we've discussed doing one-on-ones in other learning modules. But if you're meeting with that particular team member each month, part of the learning modules is to go over the tasks that you set for them last month, the competencies that you wanted them to work on last month, and then reviewing the competencies and setting the competencies that you want to work on next month until your next one-on-one, and ensuring that you're freeing up. So part of that might be, okay, you're going to spend 2 hours with the business development officer this week learning this, or you're going to go to this half-day training session on this. Now, part of the role of the leader is to ensure that you've armed that team member with the right resources so that they can engage in those competencies. Don't just play them out in your one-on-one and then throw the piece of paper at them and expect them to do it themselves. They need to free up their workload and they need resources to do that, and you're going to need to provide that with them. So that's part of building out the career path and understanding the competencies in your growth team to ensure that you're building and developing and upskilling your team members. So one of the final things I just want to close with on this is that I often get a lot of pushback when I go into office from business development managers around sinking time and money into training team members and then finding that they're moving on. Now, there is a slight misconception there, only because I can guarantee you that if you're actually properly engaging and training your team members, they will reward you with their loyalty and they won't actually go anywhere because they're growing and they're developing in your environment. The only reason that they would leave and go elsewhere is because they're not growing quick enough in your environment and they're not challenged. So what they're going to do is they're going to leave and they're going to go to another business looking for that. And in many cases, I've seen this happen time and time again, is they don't find it in other businesses either. And then you find what they're doing is they're hopping from business to business. So I'm not going to offer a guarantee, but I can assure you that if you're offering this sort of framework to grow and develop into a career for your team members, that they will stay with you long term. And that's part of what offering the career path is all about. While you're strengthening up each of those team members, you're strengthening up your business and you're creating loyalty both for your team and for your clients. And that's going to reduce staff churn significantly. And while there is some cost in training, the higher cost in actually training new staff from scratch every time you lose a team member, and then onboarding those. And then the cost to your business from lost management or downtime because you're actually having to train and onboard new staff members. Thanks.